Hey everyone, welcome. The team at Kanji has been hard at work and we're excited to announce some new updates that we think you're going to love. But before we get to the latest announcements, here's a quick highlight of the capabilities we've released since our What's New at Kanji event in July. We've released Managed OS for iOS, iPadOS, and tvOS, multi-factor authentication support for Kanji Passport, an integration with Microsoft Teams for alerting on critical events, and assignment rules to provide more flexibility in deploying library items in your blueprints. We've also launched vulnerability management along with endpoint detection and response, which will be in early access soon. Finally, we pushed out a series of releases to support the new operating systems, improvements, and changes from Apple in their fall updates. One of those was the addition of macOS Ventura, iOS 16, iPadOS 16, and tvOS 16 to Managed OS, so you can create a smooth rollout of the newest operating systems for your users. Today we're going to cover releases focusing on 4 areas: the end user experience for Mac, iPhone, and iPad users, device management, software patching, and integrations. To talk about the improvements we've made to the end user experience, I'd like to turn the time over to Catherine.
Thanks, Weldon. At Kanji, our goal is to continually make the user experience, both for admins and their end users, as intuitive and frictionless as possible. So today, we're excited to announce the addition of bookmarks to Kanji Self-Service. The creation of bookmarks started with listening to and collaborating with you, our customers and users. Many of you requested expanded capabilities for self-service through our feature requests. This led to additional surveys, customer interviews, and rounds of feedback on our prototypes. And the result, which we're announcing today, is a scalable way to give Mac, iPhone, and iPad users a single place to find the resources they need at work. With the addition of bookmarks, self-service will expand from providing apps and custom scripts to also providing links to additional resources. Admins can add URLs, titles, and corresponding thumbnail images within the new bookmarks library item. Then, they can choose what sections those links should fall under within the self-service app. Once assigned to a blueprint, the links appear in the self-service app and are displayed under the bookmarks subheading. And beyond bookmarks, we've also enhanced the user experience of the Kanji menu bar app. We've added a link to self-service, a button to update all apps, and better organized prompts giving users a clearer picture of what actions they need to take. That's it for the end user experience. Now let's send it over to Alex to tell us about what's new in device management.
Thanks, Catherine. The first announcement under device management is our upcoming release of Lost Mode in Kanji. You might know of Apple's Lost Mode feature, which helps you to secure, locate, and recover your personal devices by putting a customized lock screen on them and showing you where they are on a map. You can even trigger an alert sound on a device to find exactly where it is. Customers managing fleets of supervised iPhone and iPad devices want to be able to handle lost devices just as elegantly. Lost Mode in Kanji will do a few things to the device. Lock it to a special lock screen to prevent access to corporate data. Set a custom message on that lock screen with contact information and a footnote. Provide you with the device's location and alert you if it moves more than 50 meters. Allow you to trigger the Lost Mode sound even if silent mode is on. We've also added something special to make Lost Mode even more resilient. If a device in Lost Mode is reset by the person who found it, as soon as it re-enrolls, it's placed back into Lost Mode. Because Lost Mode gives admins access to a device's location, even if location services were completely turned off by the user, it is crucial that we provide transparency so that we don't create a user privacy concern. This focus on transparency and privacy, in turn, drove many important design decisions. To enable Lost Mode in Kanji, admins must choose from several user notification options and set at least a custom message or a phone number on the lock screen. There's also the option of customizing the Lost Mode footnote that appears at the bottom of the screen. All of these will inform whoever finds the device that it is under active management and being searched for. After a device is taken out of lost mode, a notification on the device's lock screen informs the user that the location of their device was gathered, by whom, and at which time. Device location information is provided to admins in a manner that also respects user privacy. Visibility into the location is provided when queried by the admin or every 15 minutes, but there are no historical location records. Once lost mode is disabled, all location data disappears from Kanji. Audit records are also kept in the Kanji activity view, showing when a device enters lost mode, who enabled it, when a location update is requested, or when sounds are triggered. This enables you to confidently tell your users that your access to their location is ephemeral and only for the duration of the lost mode session that you started at their request. Lost mode in Kanji balances the power needed to quickly lock and find a device with the controls needed to protect and to prove your protection of user privacy. Now, on to our next announcement, an update to assignment rules. Back in July, we announced assignment rules, which added a new layer of flexibility to how you manage devices with Kanji, letting you fine-tune the logic for when an item in a blueprint is delivered or enforced on devices within that blueprint. We are now bringing user attributes into assignment rules. They will be available for all customers who have established an integration with an identity provider. You will be able to use the group, department, or job title of a user to determine whether the blueprint should deploy a library item to that user's device. This allows a single blueprint to adapt to users' needs across an organization, reducing the number of blueprints you need to maintain. For example, if you have a group of users that spans a few teams and that have access to customer data, you can use assignment rules to target those users' devices for additional security controls without having to move them into a new blueprint. We've also expanded assignment rules from custom apps and custom scripts to auto apps and over a dozen other library items. We will continue layering in assignment rules to more Kanji library items, including apps and books apps and custom profiles in the near future. Now, over to John to talk about our breakthrough work in declarative device management. John?
Thanks, Alex. Since 2021, Apple's been rolling out Declarative Device Management, or DDM, as its next-generation MDM protocol that focuses on the management of the desired state of the device. It reduces the back and forth between devices and MDM servers and allows devices to be more autonomous and proactive. From the start, Kanji is always focused on helping admins maintain their desired state for their device fleet. This is backed by blueprints, built-in remediations, and a robust agent. Because we built our platform around this paradigm, we are uniquely positioned to adopt DDM without admins needing to change anything about the approach that they take to manage devices. In early November, we announced initial support for declarative device management. This update shifts the passcode policies for iOS and iPadOS to be applied using configuration declarations instead of the legacy configuration profile. This initial release made us first to market with active management of supervised devices. And as Apple continues to migrate existing MDM functionality to DDM with full parity, we will adopt it quickly, as we're super excited to continue building on this foundation. Imagine a world in the future where immediately after a device upgrades its OS version, it automatically applies newer configurations. Or when a user uninstalls a required app, the device just automatically reinstalls it without needing to check in with the server first. In this new era, devices will self-remediate for MDM-applied settings even when they drift from the expected state across macOS, iOS, and iPadOS. Kanji will also get proactive feedback from the device via a new status channel without having to wait hours for the next check-in. Our team built an entirely new, highly scalable, event-driven architecture to support all the core DDM technologies. We will continue building on this foundation as Apple releases additional DDM functionality in the months ahead. Now let's check in with Mike, who will talk about the incredible progress we're making in software updates for Auto Apps and Managed OS. Mike?
Thanks, JR. Auto Apps is a Kanji feature that has made software installation and patching a breeze for admins everywhere. And today, I'm proud to announce that over the last 6 months, we've tested and published an average of 100 updates a month. We've also reduced the average turnaround time for publishing an update to just a few hours, and that includes running each update through our comprehensive quality assurance processes. That's twice as fast and twice as many updates as we pushed in the previous 6 months. Our incredible AutoApps team has accomplished this through custom automations that rapidly build and upload new updates, populate required metadata, and immediately notify internal teams that they're ready for testing and approval. We employ a fleet of test devices that combine virtual and physical machines to conduct testing simultaneously across all Kanji-supported OSs and platform architectures. These improvements have enabled us to add a new AutoApp title to our catalog every week for over 60 straight weeks, and we now have over 100 apps in the library. The AutoApps we've published have fulfilled hundreds of customer requests, so thank you to all of our customers for sharing those with us. Now, let's move on to Managed OS. We know that enforcing OS updates in your organization is critical for maintaining a strong security posture. We care deeply about the admin and user experiences of managing OS updates. The Managed OS feature is a core feature of Kanji of which we continue to make engineering investments to improve its speed, reliability, and overall user and admin experiences. We have news to share with you today about what's coming next, but as a quick recap, so far this year, we've already made a lot of improvements and new additions to Managed OS. We launched Managed OS for iOS, iPadOS, and tvOS, enabled multiple copies of the Managed OS library items to allow for different update conditions and enforcement settings across blueprints, and significantly improved the time to release to updates to generally no longer than 24 hours after release by Apple. But we've also heard your feedback about additional ways we can continue to improve and have been hard at work on the next generation of Managed OS, which I'm excited to tell you about today. The next generation of Managed OS for Mac includes a complete rewrite of its architecture and additional user-driven update prompts for those edge cases where devices are not able to update via MDM commands. The rewrite is based on the server-side foundation of Managed OS for iOS, iPadOS, and tvOS. Today, the Kanji agent orchestrates Managed OS on macOS, and over time, Apple has evolved how software update management works on the Mac, and with the shift to needing to use MDM commands, we're moving all of the logic and processing of Managed OS to the Kanji server and out of the Kanji agent. This shift will benefit both you as an admin and your users. Library item statuses will be updated more quickly and accurately, errors will be handled more intelligently, and we'll be able to be more nimble in releasing additional error handling logic and fixes for any new unforeseen obstacles that may arise. For the next generation of Managed OS, we're leveraging a highly performant and scalable real-time communication platform, the same one powering our vulnerability management and EDR capabilities to enable real-time communication back and forth between the Kanji server and the Kanji agent. With this new real-time communication, when the Kanji server sees the system is ready to perform an update and tells the Kanji agent to notify the user, it does so almost immediately. And in reverse, when the user clicks the button to start the update or upgrade, the same real-time channel is used to tell the Kanji server to begin. Setting all of the mechanics aside, we know that you need reliable and frictionless updates while ensuring those updates are applied to your devices within your enforcement deadlines. That's why the next generation of Managed OS will automatically enable user-driven update prompts for when an update fails to apply. Once activated, the Kanji agent will prompt users to initiate the update or upgrade themselves via system settings or system preferences. And if the device is past its set enforcement deadline, it will notify them repeatedly with increased frequency until they complete the update. This resiliency will help ensure that all users update to the appropriate macOS version as soon as possible. We will continue to make improvements to Managed OS that we know you're going to love, giving you more flexibility and control over when and how your Mac computers are kept up to date. Now let's wrap up with Eric Dreyer to tell us about a powerful new integration.
Thanks, Mike. Integrations are how Kanji customers tie our platform into other layers of their tech stack to unlock synergies between disparate systems. Today, I'm thrilled to announce Kanji's upcoming integration with Okta Device Trust. This integration will allow you to ensure that only managed devices can gain access to Okta secured apps. Kanji's Device Trust integration is built on Okta's latest technology, Okta Identity Engine. As always, we've made the deployment incredibly easy. Once you've set up the integration, you'll head over to the Okta Verify app in your Kanji library. You'll just enable device trust, assign the app to one or more blueprints, and that's it. That will install the Okta Verify app across those devices, along with all the appropriate settings that are needed for Okta Device Trust. From there, your users follow Okta's flow to register the device with Okta. No need to manually configure any settings, certificate payloads, scripts, or app configurations. If a device has the certificate removed or is no longer managed by Kanji, it will immediately be suspended in Okta. No trust, no access. This provides the most modern, easily deployable integration for device trust in the industry. For organizations operating on zero trust security, validating that a device is managed and trusted plays a crucial part in maintaining that posture. Imagine the scenario. An employee's Okta single sign-on credentials fall into the hands of a bad actor. The bad actor attempts to use those stolen SSO credentials on an unmanaged device to try to access the data inside corporate apps. It sounds pretty scary, but device trust, along with the other security controls that you have in place, will ensure that compromised SSO credentials on an unmanaged device will not gain access to corporate apps. Kanji's integration will also feed into other Okta products, like its passwordless authentication via FastPass. Once the integration is enabled, you can add devices managed as a requirement before passwordless authentication is allowed via FastPass. Now, before I send it back to Weldon, I do have one more thing to share. I'm pleased to say that Passport will support Google as an identity provider and help you sync your users' Mac credentials with their Google credentials. Kanji customers with Passport enabled will be able to let their team members use Google Workspace credentials to log into their Mac. This is something many of our customers have been talking about, and I'm so happy to be able to share this good news. From a Mac user perspective, the login experience will have the same native to Apple feel. For admins, the configuration will be as easy and as fast as it is for Azure, Okta, and OneLogin. That's it from me. Over to Weldon.
Thanks to everyone who joined us today to see the latest releases from Kanji. We'll continue to drive forward innovations and improvements across our device management and security offerings, helping you keep every Apple user secure and productive. We're so grateful that you've joined us today and can't wait to see what we can do together.